Welcome back to the Joy of Vinyl. I'm Rick Coste. Today we're going to talk about all things digital. Well, not really all things, but we are going to talk about the source that was used to make this and to make this. Now, they're both mastered from digital sources. The problem comes when the final result used to create this is also used to create this. But aren't records analog formats? Well, yes they are. But in today's world, there's really no way to get away from digital. It'll find its way into the process. Not always, but it's fair to say most of the time. It's how it's used that matters, which is what we're going to look at today.
A vast majority of the music recorded in the late 80s forward was done so digitally. Now, there are exceptions, and there will always be exceptions. No statement is meant to be a blanket statement that is 100% true in all cases. Now, the Foo Fighters, for example, recorded Wasting Light using an all-analog process with all-analog equipment. It was done so to purposely avoid digital alterations. That, of course, couldn't be avoided when the music was transferred to CD, but everything up to that point was analog, from recording to mixing to mastering. But that's an exception. A lot of record collectors cringe at the idea of digital to analog, but they shouldn't. Digital isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's what is done with it which could be detrimental to a record's sonic health. It's all in how the source is mastered. It doesn't matter if it's a digital or an analog source. Poor mastering techniques can lead to awful results. Now, you have to remember, almost all of the reissues out on the market today come from digital sources. If they don't, then it usually comes with a big, bold badge of honor in the form of a hype sticker. Now, mastering processes and practices aside, there's also the argument that pressing a record from a digital source is exactly what we've been fighting against all along. That it completely negates the warmth and analog signature that comes with playing a vinyl record. But that's the key part of the argument that often gets missed. The act of playing the record, of tracking the stylus through the groove and transferring those vibrations to your preamp, which equalizes and boosts the signal before passing it along to your amp or set of powered speakers. All of that is where the warmth comes from. That's what our ears like to hear without being able to fully explain it. Poor mastering can ruin that experience, but it's not because it was a digital source to begin with. A high-res digital source may be impossible to distinguish from an analog master tape under the right conditions. What really matters is the knowledge of the audio engineers behind it.
And that's what the focus should be on. A solid source, be it digital or analog, and mastering techniques which take into account the format being mastered for. Done right, and the result will always be great. And nothing will sound better than this. You know what else can be done right? I bet you don't know. Subscribing to the show. Yeah, you knew that was coming. I'd love to hear from you. And if you want to know when new releases are released, or new episodes are released, click the little bell icon down below. And until next time, please take care of yourself and enjoy your records.